Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sporting Journey. I hope everybody's doing well. Well, breaking news: Tottenham Frank has been sacked from Tottenham Hotspur. Thomas Frank sacked. Thomas head coach departs after less than 8 months in charge. Spurs sacked Thomas Frank after less than 8 months in charge. Spurs are sat 16th in the Premier League table, 5 points above the relegation zone. Frank was appointed as Ange Postecoglou's successor in June, but the club will now look for a sixth permanent manager in 7 years. Tottenham sacked head coach Thomas Frank after less than 8 months in charge. Um, fans, fans, Spurs fans booed Frank and chanted for a sacking during Tuesday's 2-1 defeat to Newcastle. The club's hierarchy are understood to have concluded that Frank's position had become untenable. Well, it had, on it, let's be honest. Spurs are in 16th place in the Premier League table, 5 points above the drop zone, and have just won twice in their last 17 games. The club has taken the decision to make a change in the men's head coach position, and Thomas Frank will leave today, a statement said. Thomas was appointed in June 2025 and had been we have been determined to give him the time and support needed to build for the future together. However, results and performances had led to the board to conclude that a change at this point of the season is necessary. Throughout his time at the club, Thomas has conducted himself as with unwavering commitment, given everything in his efforts to move the club forward. We would like to thank him for his contribution and wish him every success in the future. Um, Frank left Brentford in June to replace Ange Postecoglou after the Australian was sacked, um, despite winning the Europa League. But the ex-Bees boss, has failed to win over the Tottenham's faithful, with his short tenure littered with setbacks, including drinking from a coffee cup, which carried the badge of their rivals Arsenal. I think that's a bit harsh. Frank exits, having won just 13 of his 38 games in charge, with the loss to Newcastle giving him the worst Premier League win percentage of any Spurs manager in the Premier League era, with just 26.9%. The 52-year-old's departure sees Spurs are searching for their sixth permanent manager in 7 years, since Mauricio Pochettino left in 2019. Frank's successor will take over the side that is out of both domestic cup competitions, but remains in the Champions League knockout stages after the Dane guided them to a fourth place finish in the table. Um, Spurs are next in action on Sunday, the February 22nd, with a home game against their rivals Arsenal in the Premier League, followed by a trip to Fulham. Both games will be shown live on Sky Sports. Um, Thomas Frank had people supporting him who did not want them to make this decision. This is what Michael Bridge said, but it had become untenable. The defeat to Newcastle was a really bad atmosphere. Tottenham didn't want to do this, but they lost the fans. There was no way back. Um, it had to be done. Um, then they had to make a decision. They got Arsenal in 12 days' time, and it's not the game anyone wants. So what went wrong for Thomas Frank? This is from Adam. This is from Sky Sports. Nick Wright and Adam Smith and Sam Biltz. Thomas Frank's Tottenham spell is over after just 8 months. Um, Tuesday night's 2-1 loss at home to Newcastle, who were winless in their previous 5 matches ended up being the final straw. Spurs remain without a Premier League victory since in this calendar year. The Spurs were booed off by their own supporters both at half-time and full-time of the loss to the Magpies, with chance you're getting sacked in the morning, and we want Frank out, aimed at the coach, at the head coach. Frank arrived in the summer as as the popular Ange Postecoglou's replacement, following a successful 7-year spell in charge of Brentford. Why did it not work out for him at Spurs? They said that the atmosphere said it all. Spurs fans were ready for change. Um, Having been at both of the last two home games of Thomas Frank's Tottenham tenure, one finish for sure, the Spurs fans have made up their mind. With the exception of the second half against Manchester City, where fans rallied behind an improved performance from the start to finish. Their dissatisfaction was clear. Even before a ball had been, even before a ball had ever been kicked against Chelsea, City, and Newcastle, the announcement of Frank through the PA system were met with boos. It had forgotten to the point. It had gotten to the point where, regardless of what happened, the home faithful were not going to be happy until a change was made. So this is from transfer room data. What managers suit Spurs? Top up list is Marco Silva with 84.3%. Second on list is Marco Royce with 83.8%. Third on the list is Keith Andrews at 83.7%. Fourth on the list is Jose Mourinho at 82.1%. Fifth on the list now. This is an interesting one. He's left Marseille now, and Roberto De Zerbi, 82.1%. Paulo Fonseca at 82.0%. Andore Areola is at 81.5%, and Bruno Guarcello is at 84.1%. Look, I don't know what they're going to do, because if the fans are desperate for Mauricio Pochettino to come to join Tottenham, and if the club are already looking for a permanent head coach, it doesn't look like the club are remotely interested in bringing Mauricio Pochettino back to Tottenham. It doesn't. I'm sorry, guys, it doesn't. Um, and I think the fans are going to have to accept that. And it'll be really interesting if De Zerbi goes there. It'll be box office, I tell you. It will be box office at Tottenham if De Zerbi goes there. Michael Silva, if I don't know if he'll leave Fulham now. I know he hasn't signed a new contract. Maybe they could get Michael Silva. Keith Andrews, forget about it. You don't want to go back to Brentford for anything else. Jose Mourinho won't ever go back to Tottenham. So the pool of managers who's going to take charge where you've been in a relegation battle is slim, and it's not because you haven't got the quality, you haven't got the players. You've got so many injuries, and I think that's what's going to end up cost. Why you're going to end up struggling to bring in an half decent manager. I think the club are well within their rights to sack Thomas Frank. I really do, but we it's going to be interesting to see where they go from here. Let us know comment sections down below, guys. Who would you like to see as your long-term manager? Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching this edition of this sporting journey. Until next time, guys, have a great day. Look after yourselves. See you all soon. Bye bye.